Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, we're currently in the interim stages between two debates, so I'm going to pass over to the live panel and you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever the hell is in there while I set up for the next live show.
Diamonds. It literally rains diamonds, and people believe it. That they can get in a spacecraft at some point in time in the future and travel off to this distant planet and be able to mine the diamonds that are falling from the sky as raindrops.
How do you convince a person that believes that the Earth is flat?
Oh, it's so hilarious. Oh.
Hey, can I get a quick question in that? What is that? Right the whoever? What is your name? Right the
hand.
Yeah, you said something yesterday and you kind of slipped it by real quick and tried to move past it, but I always was wondering, what are you talking about? When you said something about I believe in a dome, what were you talking about?
Well, no, you just contradicted yourself. You made a statement that you said nobody has ever been to the dome. It might be verbatim. I think that's what it was.
So has somebody been
in
to
that?
the dome?
Well, there you go. In that, you say you have no belief systems, but in that statement, you stated two. One, you don't believe anybody has gone to the dome. Two, you believe there's a dome.
Okay, hold on before you go off. No, I don't believe in any dome, first of all. And as far as believing that somebody has never been there, I'm just making a generic statement. It's kind of just information. So let me clarify that for you.
Hey, look, man, the thing is, if you're going to say you know, if you're going to be constantly clarifying because you have to constantly be like, oh, well, I didn't believe in that, you know, it's kind of like you're holding a card up that's a jack and you're telling everybody, I'm not holding a jack. We all know it. Everybody. That's why there's such contention. That's why everybody, you know, is always like, Slit, what are you talking about?
I hear you. I don't need the word salad, but yes, there's a reason for that. It's just like the planet. It's just like I say planet all the time. I am not a glober, but I'm constantly saying planet because it's out of habit. So know the difference between habit. Just understand that.
But you know, the bottom line is, unless you believe I will understand English, and unless you believe that because I'm speaking it, I can also understand it, you can't communicate. So you have to have, there has to be beliefs. And like, I understand you're like, oh, you know, you heard a guru or something who told some Svengali that was like, no, you are just a life experience. That's not true, man.
Right, whatever. Like I said, I made my point. I'm done with it.
Yeah, no, me too. It's everybody, there's no movement on this issue, so there's no point in really, you know, dwelling. I do have like some crazy stuff, if you don't mind. It's just some conspiracy theories I got.
We got enough crazy around here, man. We're all filled up. Thanks.
Let's hear it.
This one's it might be based a little bit in reality. So I don't think water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. I think it's just a positive and negative.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'm sorry, he didn't let you finish. Can you
continue? Oh, for God's sake. Please.
Shut up.
I said I don't think that water is hydrogen and oxygen.
We don't
I think
care
it's
what
only
you
a
think.
positive, a negatively charged.
John, shut the fuck up.
I don't care what you think. You don't give me directions.
No swearing, please. No swearing. We're going to start the live show in about 60 seconds. Try and keep
John, I want him to finish his sentence. Johnny boy. I want him to finish his sentence, Johnny boy.
Ink, paper, and glue molecules author technical instruction manuals and blueprints. Go back to romper room. Go back to romper room, okay?
Shut up.
Take that other clown with you.
Hold on. Right, please, if you will, John. Go about 60 seconds. Right, is it right the path? Right the hand?
Right the hand, yes.
Right the hand. Please, hopefully without interruption, tell us why you think water's not water.
I believe water is an element, and I don't think because if you think about it logically, the most common thing in the world is not going to be a compound. It's going to be the simplest form of something. So I think water is a positive and a negative charge, and its pH is based on the percentage charge that it has. So basically, when they apply electrolysis to water and they say they're splitting it into two gases, which is hydrogen and oxygen, they're technically splitting it, but it's just into the pure positive and the pure negative charge of water. That's why one implodes and one explodes. One is a negative charge, one's a positive charge. It's not two different gases.
So you're bringing in an alternative to molecular theory?
Yes.
Hey, where did you learn that?
Right. Well, it's just another presupposition of pretty much the same thing.
Where did you learn that? Can you say who brought this up?
It came to me because atoms are fake. I know everything they tell you is fake. If space is based on the atom model.
Doing the same thing.
I didn't say I had.
Let him finish, Arwen.
No, it's just another explanation of the same type of system. You just say,
Let him finish, Arwen.
It's not split up in atoms. It's just another type of split up.
There's no empty space inside of an object.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there are also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Quantum Eraser, The Plain Truth, Slick James Johnson, Sleeping Warrior, Right the Hand, Ranty Flat Earth, Paul, Chocolate Sane, Arwen, and a non-moto. Wow. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Hello, what up? What's up? Good morning.
So, should we continue with the conversation? I'd like to hear John's response. So in the pre-show, if you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. If you're watching this live, you may not. So before the show began, Right the Hand expressed his view that water is actually a positively and negatively charged element that's being split into its positive and negative counterparts. That's why one implodes, one explodes upon electrolysis being applied to it. Hopefully John will reply to that if he's around. Are you there, John?
I'm not responding to that. I'm not entertaining this foolishness
I would
anymore. He
like
can
to
go on
respond
and on
then.
about what he has
That's
to say.
awesome. Perfect.
Don't
Can I
ask, don't
respond?
give
I
me
Mumble.
Can I take
Yeah.
a response?
Yeah,
What do you mean by
you guys go ahead and
employee
respond.
No, what I would like to do is respond directly to Right the Hand, and that is, look, whatever you're going to suppose that the particles or whatever they are, the gases that it's going to split up in, what they are different. They're not exactly mirror image things, because hydrogen gas is smaller. We can actually separate it through micron filters, where only hydrogen would slip through, and the oxygen molecules, which are simply bigger, do not.
The positive.
And that's
charge
how
would be
you know
bigger.
they are absolutely
you don't know that.
completely
What if-
different
hold on.
substances.
What if the
when you
positive
split them
charge?
up.
What if the positive charge is bigger and the negative charge is smaller?
Doesn't matter.
It
They're
does
two
matter because
different
then they'll behave.
particles. One does not go through the
It
filter.
will.
The other
If the
does.
positive charge is bigger, it won't go through, and the negative charge will. If they're two different sizes, then it will behave like two different size molecules, man.
Right. So you're literally saying, okay, so it is oxygen and hydrogen.
No, it's
You're
a
just not
positive.
calling it that because you don't believe in the molecular theory.
Because here's the thing:
But
the
in
same
practice,
people that
it is
tell
exactly
Come on,
like
Arwen, the same people that tell you space is real and that you're living on a ball tell you they discovered the atom and the electron.
Wrong. Wrong.
That is my main issue.
Wrong.
That is my main
Cosmology.
issue. So that I have to. Same with
And the
Astrophysics.
model and the
Not
models are
consciousness.
all
That's
they're all
wrong.
similar. It's
Hold
a
on.
ball
would-
orbiting another
That's
Hold
ball.
on.
wrong. We go over this
chemistry
every
is
week.
derived from actual experimentation. Very,
Did you do any of these
very
experiments,
extensive
Arwen?
experimentation on the Earth. Okay, it's not even the same region. One is presuppositional, the other is practical. Purely, chemistry is practical.
Okay,
That's
but
how
here's
it
the thing, Arwen. The only thing you have right now is that water breaks into two gases that behave different when you light them on fire and have a different size molecular structure.
Nathan,
You
didn't
can't
we go
light-
over this
you can't
like
light
6 weeks
oxygen
ago?
on fire.
Didn't we solve this
Yes,
6 weeks ago
Oxygen
between
is
you, me,
the
and
fire
Adam and
type.
Anthony?
Doesn't burn.
This was a whole thing. Remember that? Who was I can't remember the two guys that brought it up.
Yeah, it's Pete and Peter. Their show covers this at length. And yes, Adam Meakin, who shout out to him on Iron Realm Media tomorrow, 10 p.m. UK time. But yeah, he, myself, yourself, John, and I believe you were there also, Anthony, were you not?
I'm not sure which one you're on about. Carry on.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
So,
if you can reiterate it, just because it keeps it contemporaneous.
I'm not reiterating anything. We dealt with this about 6 weeks ago. It lasted a couple days, and when we were done laughing, we put this to bed. Why are we even talking about this?
Can I add on to
something
this
else
just
up
to
with
bring
some
this all
cowbell instead of this
into
friggin'
more
Unless you got a
context.
frog in your pocket, there's no wheat.
So there's two things that kind of a little bit support my claim. So nuclear energy is complete. They're not splitting the atom.
And he's just
to make
gonna
energy,
go
okay?
on, right? Just let
me
him
finish,
go.
man. You sound like a baller when he hears flat Earth.
Yeah, you sound
Just
like a
getting
baller.
upset.
That's great
Yeah,
argument.
okay.
To be fair, John,
Well,
you're
the
not
one
addressing it
you're the
for
one
him.
that's
So
attacking me
gonna
just for
respond-
having an idea.
hold on, guys. Hold on. So to be fair, John, you're refusing to address it. And
Yeah, I
he may
am.
not- he
Go
may
ahead,
not-
let him go.
He may not have heard that show, so he's just going to express his beliefs, right?
Go ahead. Let him go then.
Fair enough.
I'll be back
So-
about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, fair enough.
They're not splitting the atom when they make nuclear energy. Okay, they're boiling water to create steam to spin a turbine. Okay, a turbine. I don't know if you know the difference between an internal combustion regular piston engine and the Wankel engine. Has anybody ever heard of the Wankel engine?
Of course, rotary.
Yep.
Yes, it's the
Yes.
Mazda RX-8. It makes linear power, okay? It doesn't drop off at RPM. It's because of the rotary design. Like if you turbocharge a car, you just spin the turbine, okay? And the turbine at a certain RPM will be making more power than it's required to spin based on a couple. I don't fully understand the principles, but my theories are: one, they magnetize alternating blades so that when the air comes in as a positive and negative, it creates a repulsion that spins the blade. And also when you spin metal, you create an electromagnetic field. And I think the cowling around the turbine harnesses that electricity, and that's what they use to power the lights and even a compressor that can compress air. So you have the same type of technology in planes. I don't believe planes use jet fuel either. So you have this turbine that I believe once you get it up to a certain RPM is making more power.
That's a very interesting theory. I may actually entertain that. But that doesn't have anything really to do with the foundation of molecular structure and chemistry. It's just
So my thinking is
a lot of
that
the atomic theory and especially the microparticle theories are kind of presuppositional and a bit far stretching, very calculus orientated. But the basic chemistry is just that. Chemistry was not devised by science. Chemistry pretty much came first.
yeah, but still, at the end of the day, here's how they fool you, dude. Like they lied to us about the shape of the Earth. So when you take a metal, here, let me ask you this: with
There's a lot
gases,
of
right?
presuppositions, they do make you assume and think in certain ways about chemistry. That is true, but that doesn't make the practical things about it untrue. it does
But
work the way it does.
It would work the electrolysis of water into, quote, hydrogen and oxygen would work the exact same if it was just a positive and negative ion.
Well, that depends on the chemical interactions with other substances now, does it? And
that's, again,
it'll
that's where-
turn out not to be the case. That's pretty much what chemistry been used for, to get it all right, get all the types of molecules and everything, compare them to tell them apart.
The problem with gas is you can't see them. Like a picture trying to tell metals apart if every single metal looked exactly the same.
But just because you can't see them doesn't make them have specific properties. Like you said, for example, okay, light oxygen and hydrogen on fire. Yeah, you can't light oxygen on fire. It's not flammable. It is the catalyst for fire. So it will always be something else that's burning. It's one of the unique aspects of oxygen, while hydrogen is definitely flammable.
But you didn't discover oxygen or hydrogen. You were told about them. So for all you know, it could be a positive and negative ion.
Chemistry.
Yeah, but you're experimenting with a gas. You don't know what it is.
Two different gases that respond.
Yes, and a negative charged gas and a positive charged gas will behave different.
But it's not just a gas. It is
okay. So what else? What else?
Type of gas: hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. When you cross-reference the chemical reactions with other types of substances, it's not just one singular type of positive negative.
Do you not understand that regardless of whether those, okay, so you have two different gases, okay, whether they're the ionized separation of water or whether it's the hydrogen-oxygen separation of water, it doesn't matter. Either one will do the exact same things and behave the exact same way.
Yeah, as has been established by chemistry, they classify it as hydrogen and oxygen.
But so how do we know that it is, how do we know we're breathing oxygen? Maybe we use the positive charge of ions. Maybe the sun is releasing positive charged ions. I don't know if you know that the pH of water goes up when you leave it in the sun.
It's chemistry.
Yeah, but chemistry doesn't tell you the cause. It only tells you what happens.
Filters. That's literally what they do with chemistry. This is getting really annoying. Look, you might have been really bad at chemistry for you to think this out, but chemistry is one of very
you sound like a
well worked out solid foundations.
Okay. Have we reached
all
an
of you
impasse?
sound like
Hold
a
on.
baller, and you haven't been to astronomy class.
He doesn't know what the gas is. He's just attributing what he's been told as what it is.
Like a baller,
we know what gas is by its properties, and
you
only
know its properties, Arwin. You only know its properties.
Yes, that is why they're named. They're named by their properties. That's how it works.
You're manifesting a different element when there isn't one. When it could be the negatively charged ionization of water,
because it reacts differently with other
but
substances.
It could be a liquid metal reacts different than solid metal. That doesn't mean it's a different chemical makeup.
No, other gases, other types of gases.
How do you know it's another gas? They all look
different
the same.
effects.
Come on, just let him reply. Go ahead, Arwin. I didn't hear what you said. Reply again if you can, Arwin.
Me?
Right. I didn't hear what you said. You're talking over each other.
Right, okay. Fine. I said what I needed to say. There are different types of gases. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it must all just be one or two things. No. Gas is just a state. They're different compounds. They work differently.
Any more for any more, right the hand? Or is that the...
No, that's basically it. Like it's just negative, positive, and then they use that to spin turbines. That's how they make power. That's how planes run without jet fuel. That's because dinosaurs are fake, so they don't need oil, blah, 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 blah. That's why gasoline is actually 1/10 alcohol, because gasoline doesn't come from oil. It's all part of the same ball earth, not infinite resource, not, renewable. It's all part of the same lie, everything.
Right hand, I actually understand where you're coming from. I hear you.
Me too.
No, yeah, I figure you would.
I support you on technological applications, though, with that. That is very interesting. But that does not undo just general chemistry. That's not in the same scale. Sorry.
I'll say one thing I'll kind of have a contention with when he says about planes not running on jet fuel. You're gonna have to prove that. I was in the Air Force for 6 years, and most of the time they use jet fuel, and every plane that I can see so far uses jet fuel. So to make that statement, that assertion, you've got a lot of work to do just by making.
Okay, so I'll start real quick. I'm sure you're talking about like F-14s and fighter planes. Yes, they use jet fuel for increased thrust. That's why they have a flame or exhaust behind them. There is no exhaust behind commercial airliners. And if you watch a video, there's this video of a plane taking off where people are so close to taking off near a fence that they have to hold on and it blows them back. If it's burning hot exhaust, one, how come nobody smells it? Two, how come it's not burning their skin? That hose, they're supposed to put 25 to 35,000 gallons of water in a plane. Okay, that's 2 swimming pools in this plane sloshing around, but you don't feel a drop when it takes off.
Sorry, do you mean fuel?
I agree with that.
Sorry, do you mean fuel?
Yeah, fuel. I think that hose is just compressed air. So what happens is they need a compressor to start the turbine, and once the turbine is spinning, it's creating a negative pressure that will suck more air in, and it's basically perpetual energy.
Globus is a very extensive piece on this with examples, and I kind of support it. What they demonstrated is that basically only was a little jet fuel used to start up the engine, and then after that, once it reaches the critical speed, it just keeps on going through a apparent created vacuum through the process.
There's other aircraft.
I will definitely say that I don't know about the amounts of jet fuel that is being put into these planes, but I worked at an airport for almost a decade, and I definitely smelled fuel, and I know these planes were fueled. I don't know how much, because now that I'm thinking about, the amounts of fuel they're talking about, those wings, I don't think would support it.
But probably
and also, wait a minute. Hang on.
Basically.
Okay, hang on. And see, well, I wasn't even talking about a jet fighter. Like when I was in, there was a thing called the KC-135. There were 2 types of engines. I don't remember the names of them, but one was a smaller engine, and they upgraded to a newer engine, which was a lot more efficient. Now, I don't argue that the engines might be more efficient, that they can use the fuel more efficiently, and that's why some of these larger aircraft have the larger engines on them. But everything you guys just said does not still negate the fact that the air compressor that you're talking about is used to start the engine, starting the moving of the engine, but that is not what keeps it going. There is fuel injected. I've seen the design of these engines. We worked on them. So
yeah, no, there are ones that use jet fuel. Absolutely. I just think commercial airliners, they've perfected it where like it either uses very little or like barely anything. You know what I mean? So so they can stay. When you think about it, they're like, oh, we're in a holding pattern above the thing because the thing is backed up. But then they'll tell you that they put just enough fuel in the plane for the trip. So what's going on there?
Well, I mean, like Chocolate just saying, he worked on the airline for the airport for a long time. I was in the Air Force for 6 years. And I even said they may be more efficient. They don't use as much fuel because the engines are more efficient, just like more cars are now supposed to be more efficient than older cars. You still haven't negated anything. So, I mean, I'm sorry, you're going to have to show the design of the engine. You're going to have to show it. Just because you may see things externally, you still haven't proving it. You just kind of anecdotally tried to come across it. So I'm not saying that might not be true. I'm just saying my experience has shown that they do use jet fuel. The military goes through millions of gallons of fuel every year. The Air Force does.
Yeah, but the military, they use turbos. That was explained. Then the full fuel hits, basically, to get the extra push.
Again, I mean, I hear you. I know how a jet engine worked. There was a thing called air cart, which is what you guys are talking about when they start the engines. It's basically a jet engine, a small version of a jet engine. We had to know how that operated and how that worked. We had a basic understanding of how jet engines worked, and every design I've ever seen has always had fuel injected. There is a place.
Hey,
There's
Kennedy.
there's
Sorry
a
to
place where
interrupt. Hold on one sec, Paul. Hey, Kennedy Walker. How you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing? Can you say hello?
Hey, Nathan, can you hear me?
We hear you. Good to have you. Thanks for joining.
Great. I left a couple of links on your page. I wanted to basically get my work peer reviewed. I've gone through the academic institutions that I went to, Idaho State University. I took astronomy through them, and I created How to Tell Time by the Moon, which is essentially pointing out that, am I getting feedback or anything? I'm hearing something coming through.
Keep on going.
Okay. Basically, I'm pointing out that in the middle of the night, the sun, relative to us, needs to be down, when in fact, the sun is actually in the north in the middle of the night. I actually did some 3D modeling of this using Blender. So if you'd like to see something visual, it is on my channel under Helios Debunked Once and For All.
Can you bring it up and share it with us now? Is that possible?
My internet's probably not as good as yours.
No worries.
If you went to my channel,
I was going to say, alternatively, if you can dig out a link to one of your videos, I'll not only put it in the chat so people can go and subscribe to you, but hopefully one of the other panel members will play the video that you link. So do you know how to share a link in this Hangout?
it's in the Hangout. No, I don't in the Hangout.
So if you wave, are you on a PC or a mobile?
I found the video. I'll share it in Google video in the Google chat. Somebody
thank you, Anon. Brilliant. We're way ahead of you, it seems.
Okay, great.
Carry on. It seems we're sorting out the visuals as you talk, so feel free to carry on.
Okay, so essentially what my work is pointing out. All right, years ago, let me just start a little earlier. Years ago, when I went to astronomy class, I realized...
Before you start, let's watch the video. I pasted the link. Someone could bring it up so we can visually see it as you talk.
Okay, great. So years ago, when I went to Idaho State University, I took astronomy, and it didn't take long to realize that there was a problem with where the projected location of the sun would be by looking at the moon. Looking at the light reflected off of the moon gave me a location that didn't match what I was learning about the heliocentric model, you know, where the sun is actually going down and going around a ball, which would, relative to us, be down. And it was confusing. I couldn't figure it out. You know, years went by. And then I started hearing about the flat Earth, and I went through the proofs like water maintains level and, you know, the photography. And then I obviously looked at the rebuttals, like, is this refracting up, and all of that stuff. And what I found is that the proofs, while together make an actually pretty solid case, there aren't really any great proofs that you can do from where you're at. You know, you can find bodies of water, but I'm in Oregon, so there's not a lot of huge lakes around here. But I did get a P900, and I did start studying the moon. I actually studied everything that I could see in the sky. I was tracking the stars, the movements of the stars, and eventually I realized that the number one proof of a flat Earth is the moon giving the reflected light causes you to be able to figure out what direction the sun is in. And that sun, in the middle of the night, it is always coming from the north. So whether you're in a waning gibbous or you're in a full moon, or it doesn't matter whether it's winter, whether it's summer. Go ahead.
No, nobody's interrupting you. I think you might just have a bit of a background for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, sorry. I was looking for the visual. Were you saying that people were going to be able to see that on the channel, or?
I pasted the link to your YouTube video in the Google Hangout back chat. So if someone can pull it up on the computer and then share it,
okay,
that'd be nice. On the phone.
Let me explain that video a little bit. I used Blender, which is a 3D modeling software, and I put in the values, you know, the 23.4 degree tilt of the Earth, the 5 degrees off location of the moon, and then the orbits in their proper relationship. Actually, I rounded it off. I used 30 days as a lunar cycle. But the point of the video is to show that the crescent on the moon, if we live on a ball, it absolutely has to come from the bottom and recede into the top. Whereas what we see in reality is left-right. So it will start out where you can't see it, and then a little sliver on the right will start and go all the way around until it's full, and then it'll recede off to the left. And then if you're in the southern hemisphere, hemiplane, then it's just opposite to that. But no matter where you are, the sun is always coming from the north in the middle of the night. So this 3D model shows the heliocentric model just totally debunked. There's no possible way that the light can cause the situation that we actually observe. So the heliocentric model, it is 90 degrees different than what it needs to be. So it fails. And then also in the video, I show just a simple model of flat Earth, sun and moon rotating in a circle, just in a circle, laterally from each other. So it's just orbiting in a circle above us, which gives 100% consistent results with the observations that we actually make. Now, because of that, basically what I'm talking about is, have you ever heard someone say, if the Earth is flat, I should be able to see London from New York? Obviously, we all have.
Every day.
Well, what's amazing about this is that you can see the sun while it's over London anywhere you are on Earth, as long as you use the moon. All right, so this video right here, I think I might be a little bit behind in the lag, but it's yeah, that's the Earth, and then the moon rotating around it. It takes 1 day every 30 rotations of the Earth around the light source, which is in the center. Do they have, they're not going to have sound on the video, right?
I can put sound on if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
I took astronomy in college, and I actually started noticing a problem with it immediately. However, years ago, I had no idea how deep this situation was. Now, I definitely know exactly what the situation is. All right, so it's real confusing to figure out where you are, right? Well, I went ahead and stuck a camera on this ball from a location, always pointing to the moon. That way, when I go into camera view, you'll notice just being obscured by the ball. That's because my viewing location is like right here, starting to be obscured. As we move it along, you'll notice that pointing straight to it. So when I go into the viewing mode, we can see it. We can check and see where the light's coming from. All right. So while this model definitely seems confusing, that is the point of the heliocentric situation, so that you're too confused and you just have to believe an authority figure. And because of that, they derive all their power from their knowledge, because we constantly have to ask them, like, hey, what's going on? Is a meteor going to blow us up today? We have no idea. So that's where they get all their power from, because they have the answers that we cannot have. All right, so anywhere we look at this, you'll notice that it is pointing directly at the moon. So sometimes, right now, our viewing location is on the far side of the Earth from the moon, so it's pointing directly into the ground. So we're not going to be able to see anything. All right. So let's take a look at the rendered view of this. Remember, this is a month's time. However, these angles should be exactly matching what you see in reality. The angles that the sunlight is coming and hitting the moon from. So what do we see? Crescent starts on the bottom, and it's going to recede into the top. So is that what you see in your life? I think we can all admit that none of us have ever seen anything like that. That's strange. That should be where we're living.
Okay, I'll pop the video on mute there. Hopefully we'll actually have some live discussion. I've hopefully given enough meat to the video. I'm going to spam it again, but yeah, if we can go back over to live discussion now, that'd be much better. Thank you very much for sharing it.
Okay, so you'll notice that arrow right there shows that east is up. So what that means is that if you look east or west, then what you have to see is the crescent on the bottom when it's nighttime, when the sun is below, relative to you, when it's down, it has to be coming from the bottom. And then the west is the bottom of the frame. And then as it continues on, it is going to, I'm going to lock the camera onto the west, right there. And this is what we see. So this is just like if you were just looking west. So this is no longer following the moon around. And notice that, I mean, we're 90 degrees off. Yeah, the Earth is tilted 23.4 degrees. That's accounted for. The 5% rotation, the moon is off from the x-axis is set. So this should be exactly consistent, even if there's, perspective issues. It doesn't change the fact that the sun is never down, and if it were down, then the moon would reveal that fact. Now, within the flat Earth, there's a lot of talk about the moon being its own light source, which I believe any photo is a demonstration that proves otherwise. This here is the flat Earth.
Hold on. The moon doesn't reflect the sun's light. The only way that it could do so if it's flat or concave. This is 60 level optics.
Hold on. That video is perfect for what he's talking about. So it was right at the part where it's the flat Earth model now. And what we're going to see is that it's 100% consistent with what we observe.
What did I just say? Is the moon flat or concave?
The moon's a sphere.
Yeah, well, as a sphere, it cannot uniformly reflect the sun's light. This is 60
and yet
level
this 3D
optics.
model is saying otherwise.
The model,
Watch
the
it.
reification fallacy.
Watch it.
What type of model you got?
Yeah, it's the one on the screen.
Yeah, models are reification fallacies. I just told you this is really simple to show. If it's a sphere, it cannot uniformly reflect light. Look at angles of
Right,
incidence,
but
right?
listen, this is 3D modeling. It simulates
I don't
physics.
care.
So it's simulating the light. It's for art. It's like
Great
what
argument.
they used
Go.
to make
Is
Toy
this the
Story.
same guy with the water?
No, I don't think so. This is
No,
Kennedy
I
Walker.
actually disagree
Subscribe
with this
today.
guy. How
Link in the
can
live
the
chat.
moon be a sphere? Is it floating in nothing?
Well, actually, if you look at pictures of the moon, then you can always see the curving around edge right on the edge of the sunlight. You can always see elongated shadows, which I've got fully documented on my channel. This is the rendered view of a lunar eclipse. And then what we're going to see is all of the phases, just exactly what you witnessed from your porch. So this isn't a reification fallacy. This is a demonstration of what you see outside your door. This is how you make the Earth your model instead of using a model.
You can't say that you see shadows on the moon.
Yeah, my website, kennedywalker.site, has lots of P900 images of the moon.
Hold on, dude. A dark spot is not a shadow. Your faith makes it a shadow. You see a dark spot.
Elongation and then the lack of shadows when the sun is hitting it directly. When you're in the path of the sun and the moon, then you get a full moon and there are no shadows. And then when it's not full on, face on, then you do get shadows, and then they elongate. So throughout the night, throughout that individual night, those particular shadows elongate, proving the spherical moon.
Okay, hold on. So what you're saying is, can you answer me this? Can we watch what you're describing visually as it happens in the sky on a computer screen?
Can we watch? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding.
Okay, so you say that you look up, you see the moon as a sphere or a 3D object with raised craters, and the sun creates these shadow effects. Can I see that exactly on my computer screen?
On your computer screen?
Like if you videoed it,
you can see,
right?
Oh yeah.
Would I be able to watch the effect? Would I be able to witness what you witnessed in the sky on my computer screen?
I mean, there's like there's definitely issues with modeling things that it's not going to be matching.
How is something that you visually photographed not going to match what you saw?
Oh, yeah, anything. Yeah, I got photos of it.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, hold on. So I'll go with that. So if in the photo, which is a 2-dimensional picture, you can see what you think is a 3-dimensional object casting a shadow, then how do you know that the moon is not a 2-dimensional object replicating what would look like a 3-dimensional shadow cast?
Well, because of the fact that you cannot see the shadows when you're directly in line with the light. It has to do with the angle of the light.
Oh.
So it's just like any shadows that are going to be in your house. If you can see the shadow and you understand where the light source is, then you have information about the object that's obscuring.
Okay, so hold on here.
As far as depth.
Think about this. Let's say the sky, like how you look at your computer screen, let's say you can look at the sky, it's just much bigger and in higher definition. Could it render exactly what you would perceive as a 3-dimensional object casting shadows?
I'm not sure where you're going with this. It doesn't need to. You can use your P900. You don't need your computer.
This is important because you're just declaring that what you see is what you say it is. And if I can provide some sort of alternative that you can't disprove, then how do I know that you're telling me the truth?
You're going to have to actually look at the moon.
I can look at the moon in a screen on my computer. How do I know the moon I see
Okay,
in the
so-
sky is not a screen?
Well, every minute of the day, these angles are going to be different. So
And the screen is rendering that.
what you do is you just pick a control, and then you start comparing those against other observations. And then what you find out is that those shadows elongate consistently throughout just one viewing of the moon, which is just under it's 1/30th less than the sun. So the moon is just 1/30th less than the sun, or 1/29.5.
Okay, but again, you're just declaring what you see to be shadows when it could very well be a screen showing forth an image.
Okay, let me get back to the point. The point of how to tell time by the moon is locating the sun. Okay, so if you know the difference between north and down, then we're on good footing. That's a good place to start, because north, that's inconsistent with the heliocentric system. That, I mean, at some point in the nighttime, the sun has to be down from your relative position. Would you agree with that?
On the heliocentric model, yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, but answer my question, or we're
Yeah,
going to hop
okay,
to someone else.
I'm trying to play along. Yes, in the heliocentric model, it would be relatively speaking down, or antipode, or however the hell you want to describe it, as opposed to over there, outwardly.
Okay, and since that observation is never going to be, it can't be made. There's no light coming from the bottom of the moon. This non-spherical moon thing is actually extremely detrimental to the flat Earth, and there's no purpose for it. If you look at a full moon, you're going to notice no shadows at all. And so the model isn't, it's not on the computer. The model is really the Earth and the sun and the moon rotating around it. What the model is showing that since the sun is never coming from down, as revealed by the light reflected off of the moon, the heliocentric model is, I mean, there is no heliocentric model.
And again, the moon cannot uniformly reflect the sun's light. The only way it can do so if it's flat or concave.
So that's a declaration based on
It's
what?
not a declaration. It's simple
Well, the
angle
3D
of
modeling
incidence with
software
optics.
would disagree
You have
with
no
that. It
idea
just
what you're
shows-
doing. I don't know. Did I wake up and I'd step off into bizarro world? Maybe I should go back
would
to
say you
sleep and try
probably
this
did.
all over again. This is ridiculous.
That's your refutation, John?
Yeah.
That's my
Don't listen to him. He hasn't
reputation.
done-
Yeah.
I would accept some type of what's your position? That it can't.
He's a
Is that
Jesus
your
freak.
position?
That's what he is.
Said it twice, saying that unless it's flat or concave, it can't uniformly reflect. Simple. That's his position. He's just stated
Okay.
it twice.
Okay. So what did the 3D modeling software do? Make that up?
I don't really care what your 3D model did. I'm telling you.
You realize that reflecting light is uniform or not depending on the surface, right? Say like a glossy surface
Yeah.
is going to leave a specular
Yeah, that
highlight,
doesn't help you much.
whereas a bumpy surface is actually
Right.
going to be able to absorb light in a totally different way and
Bumpy
not
surface.
create a
Really,
highlight.
show us in your 3D model a bumpy surface with light reflecting off it.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what's on.
Yeah, show it.
Hey guys, I just have to go. So
Yeah.
thanks for having me
I wish
around,
I
and
did.
you guys carry on.
Thanks, Ranty. See you later.
Yeah,
Damn.
I'm doing a premiere that's starting in a minute, so
okay.
that's the only reason I have to nip
That's
out.
a
But
crying
you guys
shame.
carry on. You're doing great.
I was hoping you'd do your eye versus the globe comparison, exclusive Ranty information.
Cracky. I could do it for a couple of minutes and literally, but I don't want to stop these guys from doing what they're doing.
No, please
do. Please do.
Okay, crikey.
Hey, Mac, how you doing?
I'm cool. How are you?
Very well. Right, Ranty's going to rattle this off. We talked about it. I just hate it not to happen. I've seen what happens when Ranty doesn't get to do his presentations in the past. So.
Oh no, it wasn't. I wasn't even really. I wasn't too bothered either way.
I'm just pulling your leg, Ranty. But you're on screen. I'm ready to rock and roll if you want to make yourself full screen.
Oh right, am I not full screen? Am I not even sharing?
You're sharing. You've just got the windowed view of the video, unless it's the actual comments and stuff you want to show.
No, this is it. Yeah. So okay, can you see me going up and down? Yeah.
Ready to go.
So okay, so Don't Fear the Truth. It's a YouTube channel. It's bigger than yours, Nathan. 16,000 subscribers. Just saying. But he literally must have watched my video, and he's definitely been keeping a track of you, Nathan. I have to say, because basically what he's done is he's kind of nicked the the title of my presentation that I did as a hangout. It was literally a very quick one, going through the angular resolution of the human eye versus the curve calculator. And I think I've got it. This is his channel up here. So, everyone go and subscribe. I literally subscribe to him because he's actually keeping a track of the flat Earth debate. Let's put it that way. And a lot of people have watched this video.
He's got my photo of the balloon up there on the satellite. Did I just see? Was I seeing things? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, got it. Thanks. Sorry for interruption.
So this guy's on it. I mean, Don't Fear the Truth, he's called. And I've never come across this channel before, literally never. And it's nice to come across new YouTubers that you see. And the only reason I found it was because I typed my name in and checked for things that had been published for this week. And his channel turned up. So I watched the video. Dead interesting. He's got a lot of stuff that he's taken from you, Nath, and Life is Short. And basically he goes through the angular resolution of the eye versus the curve calculator. And he literally does exactly what I did. He puts the distance in, height above sea level. What's if you put your eyeball on the floor?
All right. That's all old stuff. Can we get back to our conversation?
No. So I'm plugging this guy's channel, and you're trying to interrupt me here. So
I
basically,
hear you, but we've kind of been going over the calculator.
Okay, fair enough. I'll drop then. Okay, cheers.
Oh, that was a shame. Oh.
Can I put some? I want to add some to. I don't know if you guys heard this, but they said we're running. This I Google it. They said we're running out of helium.
Are you having a laugh? You've just destroyed Ranty's point that the curve calculator is essentially the same as the angular size to tell us that we're running out of helium.
No. We can do this for months. We know that by the criterion.
Yeah, but no, because he said satellites, and like satellites, we don't believe in satellites. So what are they? I think they're on helium balloons, and they have so many. They've captured so much helium that they don't have any left. They're using it all for these satellite balloons.
Yeah, so mid presentation, you've just hijacked it and changed the subject entirely because you didn't like Ranty's presentation? What gives?
No, he said you said he was done. He said we went over the curve calculator where everybody agrees that it hijacks perspective. I thought that's what was established.
Yeah, and you went, yeah, we've already done this while he was in the middle of doing it.
No, he finished. I waited for him to finish.
Yeah, he finished because you said, yeah, we've done this, and then he got annoyed and left.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
He didn't say that, Nathan. That was somebody else.
Oh, my bad. Well, in any event, thank you very much, Ranty. Really appreciate your presentation.
That was Mr. Uniform Reflection over there with bumpy surfaces that interrupted him.
Oh, okay, because he wants to get back onto that. Well, fair enough. As he's gone now, we don't have much choice.
I got a question for that guy. What's the speed of dark? Let's change the subject. What's the speed of dark?
I don't want to change the subject. Let's go back to the best flat earth proof
What's
that
the speed
exists.
of dark, man? You're not getting out of this. I need to know it.
No, I like
The
that.
speed of
You don't
dark.
need to listen to this Jesus freak.
It's just as fast as.
Oh, wait a second, Anon. Listen, we don't need to hear from the peanut gallery over there. that thinks
We don't
they
need to
can
hear
tinker
about
with
the Jesus freak.
molecules can
To be
author
honest,
technical
though,
instruction
John,
manuals and blueprints.
Come on. I've just
Isn't that irrelevant, though?
One hijacking at a time, Anon. One hijacking at a time. Hey, James, how you doing?
He's like the
Good,
court
good,
jester.
Good to have you,
I
James.
would say that the speed of dark is just kind of irrelevant. Wouldn't you?
There is no such thing.
Yeah, so are we getting back to how spheres can uniformly reflect light? Let's get back to that.
Sure. Yeah.
So tell me how it can
it's
do
all.
that.
It has to do with the texture, 100%.
I'm not talking about texture just yet. I'm talking about the overall shape.
Okay.
You got more problems when you introduce texture.
I don't have any problems because it totally matches up with reality.
Yeah, it totally matches.
Since it
matches up
yeah.
with reality.
Is that your refutation?
Good point.
Because no one else has any type of refutation as to why the sun
I just
is in the
refuted you.
north.
You're just whistling past the graveyard.
You gotta use a new one.
60-level optics.
Do you know where north is, John? Do you know the difference between north and down?
He is so annoying.
John.
Not what your sister
Somebody's
said.
pulling out red herring.
No, okay, the difference between north and down. Down's not an objective direction. North is questionable.
So no, you do not know then. Okay.
Yes,
I'll
I
accept
do know.
that.
I
I
just told
think
you.
the entire audience will accept that.
The entire audience. So you're speaking for the entire audience. Objection, Your Honor.
I definitely think they're all agreeing with me right
Baseless
now.
assertion fallacy appealing to the unknown masses.
Okay. Do you
So
know
why
the
don't-
difference
go ahead and
between north and
poll-
down?
go ahead and
Because
poll the
if you
audience,
can't answer
right?
that,
And
then
let's
you're
see
just
what
going
they
to look
think.
like a dumbass in front of everybody.
Let's
John.
see what they think. Dumbass.
He does that
You
every
charging
day.
me with being a
Nothing new.
dumbass is Elmer
Okay.
is tantamount to
All
Elmer
right.
Fudd.
So the
charged
only
friggin'
let me explain
Tiger
this to you,
Woods.
John. Hey, John, let me explain this to you. The only way to refute how to tell time by the moon
How to
is what
tell
you have
time.
to do is make some
What is time?
observations.
What is
Are you
time? Is
ready?
time physical?
Are you ready to hear? Do you want to
Is-
know
what
how to
is time?
falsify,
You
or
made a
is that
claim
not
to
important
time.
to you? Or
You made a claim to time. What is time?
time is when the sun is on your longitude. Noon is when the sun is
Longitude. Wait a
on your
second. Where'd you get
longitude.
longitude at? Can you show me a longitude line?
Yeah, it's south of you. North
No,
and
I
south
need to
is your
see a longitude.
line.
Is the longitude line physical?
Yeah, it's north and south of you.
It's physical. Okay, what's its chemical formula or structure?
It's north and south. The actual math for it would be
No, I
like
don't wanna
N
hear the
and
math.
S for north and south.
I don't want to hear the math. You said it's physical.
Oh, right. You don't understand north and south. What you need
Yeah,
to do,
I
John,
want
is
to.
buy
No.
yourself a
It's not what
compass.
I don't understand.
Hey, John.
You said
John,
longitude
excuse
lines
me.
are physical.
Buy
So
yourself
give me
a
the chemical
compass,
formula structure,
figure out
charge,
north,
mass,
south,
momentum, or spin of
read
a
a
longitude
book,
line.
and find out where down is.
Of a longitude line. Get back on topic. You made two
great.
claims:
So
time and longitude
that's what
lines.
time is.
Kennedy,
support your
Kennedy,
claim.
he's asking you if the longitudinal line is a physical thing.
It's north
Say
and south
no.
of you.
He didn't ask you
It's
where
not
it
a
is.
physical thing.
Is it physical?
It's it's location. It's north and south
It's not
of you.
physical.
That's right. It's not physical. Is that what you said? Is that your final answer?
It's north and south of you. It's
That was
Oh,
my
God.
final answer.
Kennedy, do you know if you keep going north, you go south?
No.
Yes. Go north.
True
and
story.
you'll go south. If you keep
That's a true
going in
story.
any direction, you'll go south eventually.
Sorry,
No,
I stepped
no.
away for a second. I'm really sorry.
Because here's
the deal.
Sorry to interrupt. I just need to catch up. 'Cause
What
I
you're
stepped away
doing
for a
is
second.
you're
Hold
taking
on a
a
second.
measurement
Sorry.
from your location.
Sorry, I stepped away for a second. Just need to catch up. Have we had a representation or a demonstration of a, was it longitude or latitude line? I forget.
Longitude line being physical.
Have we seen one of those yet?
You use a compass,
the reason-
and then the lines
reason-
that go north and
Oh,
south.
Jesus
are one.
wept. I am talking. So, the reason I ask is because Dirth put me in touch with a dude, I can't remember his name, and he had the same thing. He said exactly the same example, and I asked him the same thing. He didn't get back to me with it, and I'm just wondering if you have one. Can you show me a latitude line, please? If you've not done so already, I stepped away.
Well, I have a compass, so I could take a picture of it and show
There
it to you.
is no longitude lines. Just say it. It's not that hard. There is no. Those are things we create.
He already said it. It's
denotation
not
line.
physical. He conceded to that. It's not physical. We can move on.
Oh, thanks, Chocolate. I didn't realise.
Yeah, it's not an item. It's a location.
It's a location, so a non-physical thing has a location. That's a contradiction.
So do you understand what he's just said to you? So Hawaii is a location, and I can show it you. Yeah.
Right.
A latitude line isn't a location. It's a concept.
Well, no, if you're in
yeah.
Hawaii, then that's what your longitude is.
Oh,
so
God.
it's the entire. Yeah,
it was a concept place so that you can locate that place. It's not a physical thing. When you get there, you're not going to find the line there, right?
Yeah, there's
so
no
it's
line.
just a concept that gets you to the location.
Okay, maybe a different question. We'll move this along. Do you know where we get the latitude lines from? How they are derived? How that concept has come to pass?
Latitude. It's
yes.
I believe it's measuring distance from the north.
How
he's asking who conjured it up. Who conjured it up? Who made it? Who created it?
Not who, but what has been done to derive this concept of latitude lines?
Well, we're on longitude specifically because what we're doing is we're locating what time is. That was the question. Time is when the sun is on your longitude.
I appreciate what you're saying. I'm asking you a slightly different question. Where has this concept come from? What was it that gave us these lines in the first instance?
The globe.
They're radial lines.
I think Nathan means the globe.
No, I don't. I don't.
They're spokes from the magnetic center.
So do you know where they've been derived from?
It's derived from magnetic north with a compass.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Okay, can we move on?
Yeah. What is the point of any of this? Here's how you falsify how to tell time by the moon. What you do is you take images or record when the sun is down.
So we're going to whistle past this point then.
The point being?
Well, I've asked you a specific question. Where were they derived from?
And I explained what a compass, it points to the North Pole. Okay, so north and south, that's your longitude. So if you were to draw it, then it would be like spokes coming from the North and South Pole.
Okay, does it point to magnetic north or true north?
Magnetic compass. John, I'm going to let you take this one.
Why? Let me take this one. I asked you.
Yeah, where does a magnetic compass point to, John?
Yeah, you said that the
Excellent
longitude
question,
lines
John.
come from the North Pole. Is that correct?
That's what he said, yeah.
I'm sorry?
I asked him if it was his final answer.
Yep, and that was his final answer. You said the longitude lines come from magnetic North Pole. We just ironed that out.
Okay, yeah.
That was your final answer?
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
You know, guys, can I step in a second? Kennedy was really making a good point, but you can't get to finish. He was talking about the difference between north and down and got derailed.
Thanks, Mr. Helper.
So as long as we can understand that there is a huge difference between below us and to the north of us, 90-degree difference, and even if you believe in the ball, then it's still, it's not quite 90 degrees, but it's still a significant.
I don't believe in the ball, and I think you're absolutely clueless. Even in their concept of longitude and latitude, the longitude lines don't originate at magnetic north. You understand that, right?
I understand that you just made a claim.
Oh, God. This is bizarro world. Sorry.
In the meantime, there's often people on the panel that will just go out and Google these questions that we deliberately leave out the hang, and we intentionally haven't answered this question for you. But maybe someone on the panel is going to go away and Google where the longitude and latitude lines are actually derived from.
The stars.
No, the longitude is based on north.
Yeah,
which north is that?
We had your final
You know
answer.
that there's different norths, right? You got Tell me the
No,
different
that's
norths.
a claim,
Let's start
John.
there.
North is where your compass points.
Okay, what are the different types of north?
North is where your compass points, and there's only
Thank
one.
you. No
Yeah, that's
further
cool.
questions.
That's one. Yep, that's one. Cool. Magnetic north.
Right. There's only the one.
There's
There
four.
isn't. What?
Okay. So, anyways.
No,
even
no,
if-
not
What do you mean
anyways.
anyways?
There's four.
Let's go ahead and
Let me
pretend
just,
that
look,
there's
don't take
two
this
north.
personally, right?
Can I
There's
answer?
an audience, right? Now, I appreciate your ignorance, but it's useful for the audience to learn as we take you by the hand and slowly step you through it, giggling at you, while you whistle past each point like they're not relevant.
What points have you made? Here's how you debunk how to tell time by the moon. First, you need to show light coming
Then he
from
just whistled
below
past
the
the radio
moon
and starts
up
over again.
onto the moon. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
That's how you falsify it. You
Just
need
have
to
some
have
humility.
a sun
Have
that
some
is
humility,
shining
for
towards
God's
the moon
sake.
at some
Have some
point.
bloody humility. Yeah.
See how
so-
he switched the burden onto us? We now have to disprove his outrageous claims. That's how they did
Right.
it. He-
No, I'm giving you a way to do it because
No,
this
you're-
whole concern over whether latitude and longitude are based off of mean distances or gross distances.
I'd
That's
suggest
not.
to find a different
It's
show
not even
to
related.
present this on.
And I could give you.
No,
show me
I mean
the
it's basically really obvious that you guys are just afraid to look outside and look at the moon.
We look
All
at the
you have
moon.
to do
I'm
is
quivering in my boots right now.
all
Kennedy,
you have to do is
Kennedy,
locate
Kennedy.
the moon
Have-
and
Kennedy, let me
then
ask you
figure
something.
out where the sun is lighting that moon from.
Okay, dude, let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a rock float in midair?
You guys on drugs or what?
Good
Why
question.
are
I'm
we
asking
talking
you.
about
Good
this?
question. I'm going to repeat it.
You
Good
think
question.
the moon is a rock floating in midair?
Good question.
Okay. Anybody have any good questions?
No, that's
That was
an
a good
actual
question.
Does
I'll
anyone
repeat
have
it.
any good
Has
questions,
anybody
I
on
said?
the panel ever seen a rock floating in midair? Hands up, anybody.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The
why
answer,
do you think the
the
moon
answer is yes.
Oh, what, the moon? I've never seen a rock floating in midair except the moon, so the moon proves rocks can float in midair. That's
Okay.
called,
What's
I don't
a
know the
maglev
fallacy.
train? What's a maglev train made out of?
I'm not claiming anything about a maglev train.
Why
You're
not?
the one
Pretty
claiming
sure-
that a rock is floating
Are
in
we
midair.
talking about floating or not?
Or is it
It's
made out of...
floating.
Not floating. If you want to talk about something
Okay,
else,
so
you're gonna-
what's in rocks?
I'm not going to
Metal?
get my joke in.
All right, so is metal in
Guy,
rock?
is magnets keeping the magnetism
Yeah,
keeping that
magnets
big rock
repel,
up there?
they float.
so
Great.
okay, well,
Magnets
as
are
long as
rock.
he says it's not
Magnetite
gravity.
will float.
Does
Okay,
magnetism keep that big rock up there? Is my question.
Yeah, I would have to direct you to a maglev expert, and
So what are we told is keeping that big rock up there?
I would suggest that it's the same thing that keeps a maglev train up.
Do you believe it or do you know it?
Slick's not talking.
I would suggest it, is what I said. Good attention span, John.
So did we figure out where the latitude and longitude lines are derived from or what?
Yeah, they come. It comes from magnetic north. Longitude is.
Google says there's 3 types of north. There's true north, grid north, and magnetic north. There is now a 4th, Google Maps north. Each
No, that's a 5th because, well, we have celestial or astronomical north. They forgot that one, but that's all right.
Okay.
that's true.
How many of
Thanks
those
for giving him the answer.
I was
let
gonna
me
say,
ask you a question then.
that's what I was
How many
hoping
of
for,
those
actually, John.
4 or 5 norths that you've got, how many of those are down?
Hey, thanks for giving him the answer, whoever gave him that.
No, I wanted that. I wanted that to happen.
How
Oh,
many
you
of
did,
your
okay.
5 norths are down?
But we live in a three.
How many of your 5 norths are down?
Look, don't
Dude,
get
North
angry.
forward and
So
We
you've
live in
gone
a
from.
three-dimensional
Sorry,
space.
guys.
Listen, I'm just going to slow this down for you. How many of all these norths?
We heard the first 4
are down?
times. I heard. Right, you have gone from declaring there is one to now asking us which one of the 5 conforms with your point that you've made several times.
Which one
None
is
of us
down?
here on this panel think North is down.
Okay,
Yeah, we
so
appreciate
if
that the
all
globe
5
has not.
norths are
Why are you still
north
talking?
and none of
Why
them
are
down,
you still talking? I'm answering you.
Because all 5
I'm
norths
answering
are
your
north
question. I'm answering you. Do you not want an answer? Do you just want to
this
talk
Eve-
incessantly? Have
Is
some
this
bloody
Yvonne with the
humility,
voice
right?
changer?
First and foremost, not one North. Are you going to say, I was incorrect and have some bloody humility? Or are you going to rumpus the shit out of me?
Why? Because Google claims something?
No,
No,
this
that,
is a
that
fact.
has nothing to do with
No.
science. What I'm talking about is science.
I know,
So-
you're talking nonsense. We're taking you by the hand and demonstrating your ignorance to educate an audience. Now, you don't have to like that, but you could just accept it and have some humility.
Okay, so you accept that no North, none of
you
them
can
are
rumpus
down, right?
the living daylights out of everybody on the panel because you have no humility.
Excuse me, Nathan. How many of them are actually down, though?
Yeah,
Because I'm
the
pretty-
one that you declared earlier, we only have one. So what, you're going to ham-handedly segue between you declaring that there's one and there not being, or are you going to have some bloody humility and concede you were wrong?
No, I've never seen 2 Norths.
Oh, really? So you're not going to concede? You're going to double down on your nonsense, try and segue away from it with your original example, transpose in the 5 Norths that actually exist where you declared there was only one, and rumpus the living shit out of everybody who tries to talk while you try and cover up your abject
All right.
failure
So I
in
won't-
this regard. Yeah, I run this show. I'm not going to raise my voice because you rumpus me. I'll just shut you up with my nice little button that shuts up wankers who have no humility and talk indefinitely while I talk, right? If you keep talking while I talk, I'm going to remove you from the hangout. I'm not going to raise my voice to you. You don't rumpus here. Just have some bloody humility.
So
Hello?
Does anyone have a question?
Yeah.
I have a genuine question.
Yeah.
What does North
Yeah. I have
to
a
do with
question. What?
I can't hear.
Yeah, try and shut up. You might listen because you'll close the gate that you're constantly holding open. So, what is it that gives us these longitude and latitude lines? Where did they come from? What were they derived from, Mr. We Only Have One North?
Well, there's this thing in the center of Earth that is magnetic, and the sun also rotates it.
Where did it come? Can you have him repeat back the question?
Can you repeat what I asked you back? You asked if any questions were forthcoming. I gave one. Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah. You asked where North came from. And
No, you stupid deaf retard! Where were the latitude and longitude concepts derived from?
I like to know this answer,
North,
Nathan. What is it?
Shit.
Nathan, I like to know what is it? Where
Go
do they
Google
come
it
from?
then, Anon. I suggested this earlier for those who want to know the answer early.
All right. So does
Damn.
anybody have any legitimate argument?
Hand wave dismissal. Whistle. Let's go.
Hand wave of what?
And
Well, I
wave
don't
of
even
my
get what your
question.
question is.
My question relating directly to your point.
Relating directly to your point.
Yeah, my question relates
What's your
directly
question,
to your
bud?
point. I've asked it. You've not answered it. You just hand wave dismiss it and go on to something else.
No, it comes from magnetic
Could have
north.
Googled it by now. Could have Googled it. If you were right,
Is
do
there
you think
something
we'd still be...
confusing?
Ask yourself this. Do you think we'd be holding you here if you were right? Do you think asserting your incorrect answer 6 more times is going to make us move on? Do you think it's going to change the real answer? Do you think it's
I'm
going
not
to
sure.
actually...
What do you... I
Do you
don't
think
even
rumpusing
understand
the
what
shit
you're
out of me
getting
while I point out your stupidity will stop people thinking you're stupid and ignorant?
I'm not sure.
Do you think that's what's going to be succeeded by you talking right now?
Yeah, everybody knows longitude is a direct line from north to south. So
Oh dear. And with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who've tuned in live to the Nathan Oakley stream. If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live show possible. Check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum at nathanoakley.com. I've been Nathan Oakley, amongst the noise, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is that we had the conversation. Why all the ridicule have to start? Kennedy, I was understanding where you were coming
John.
from.
John starts it all.
Yeah, I don't understand that. What is it?
Yeah,
Can't
I'm
you just
the
have
bad
a
guy
conversation
when
without
you
the
bring on my
ridicule?
I'll tell you what,
zealot.
Slick. Take Kennedy and you and go to another hangout and you could talk about magnetic north. All right? And how the longitude lines come from magnetic north. Go on, take a non with you.
That's not
Hey,
even a refutation
clowns.
of any sort. Just a
I still
denial
want
of
to know
north.
where do you guys think that the longitude latitude lines came from?
Have you Googled it yet,
He has
Anon?
no,
Have you Googled it?
he has no idea.
Did
I mean,
you
I'm on my
Google it?
phone,
Idiots
Nathan.
don't know
Chocolate,
shit. Are
chocolate
you
let it
kidding
slip
me?
and then kept his mouth shut because he presumably went and Googled it.
I'm not able to Google it right now. I'm on my phone, hands free.
Nathan,
Sorry.
what
Oh,
was
well,
that?
just,
Seriously.
I tell you what then, Anon, demonstrate over and over again that you don't know either by asking us to tell you while we're holding somebody's toes to the fire.
I don't. I'm not claiming
Yeah,
anything.
so shut
I'm
up.
just
This
trying
is
to
like
lecture.
yesterday, Anon. Do you remember yesterday when I had to say, well,
Nathan,
why don't you keep
seriously,
your bloody
what the
mouth
fuck
shut
was that,
then?
man?
Why don't you just keep your mouth shut then?
Dude,
keep
what
stum,
was
mate.
that?
Just keep stum. Just play along. So, anybody
Dude,
else
I've
know
never
where we got
seen
the
anything
longitude
more
and latitude
dishonest
lines
than
then?
lies
Yeah,
than
I'm
you
still
guys.
waiting for an answer to that question.
I don't know, man. We could have gone from anywhere.
Jeez, how bad.
How dishonest. What is
You're
up with
right.
you guys?
I'm not going to
Guys,
say
can
what.
I-
Honest.
Guys, can I clear up what? Can I take a second and clear up what happened here? Kennedy was making a point, and he got derailed to longitude lines. That wasn't his point. And what happened
Yeah, it was. He made the claim.
Can I finish, please, John? Let me finish.
I don't
Now,
want to
what
let
happened
you
was-
finish, Slick. You clown. Everyone heard what he said.
Yeah, that's right.
He said
The chat
longitude
was
lines. He
totally
said
on
time.
my side,
Then he
John.
said
You're
longitude
just
lines. I
looking like an
challenged him on
idiot.
both. Before that, I challenged him on the
He does that every
60
day.
level optics question about freaking uniform deflection or reflection. He just sidestepped it, right? And kept on and on about his story. Were you in this hangout,
No,
Slick?
I
Did
said
you
it was
hear that?
texture. Why are you lying, John? What
Did
do
you
you
hear
have
that,
to
Slick?
hide?
Were you in this hangout? Do we need to
Jesus.
go back and let you listen to
I
it?
said it was texture, John.
Don't try to freaking summarize stuff. We were all in the hangout and heard it, Slick.
No,
You
I used
clown.
the word texture.
Do you believe
didn't
that
I?
we heard it, or did you think that we know that we heard it?
Oh, did I
Idiot.
use the word texture? I did, didn't I?
The guy's totally triggered. He can't shut his mouth. He's talking to someone else, mate. Slick. Is your name Slick?
My name is not Slick, no.
I don't know what John is talking about. What I'm talking about is the conversation that we were having a little while ago. Kennedy started to talk about the difference between north and down, and all of a sudden he got derailed to longitude line. So his whole point got hijacked, and then he got his feet held to the fire about something he didn't even bring up.
He brought up. I'll tell you what, Slick. What do you have in your ears? Were you in this hangout?
Kennedy said the longitude lines were from the North Pole, the magnetic north. That was his
He
point.
brought
That's
it
what he was
up.
trying to say. That's
Ah,
why
that's an
Nathan
example.
asked him where he thinks it came from, and then that's where he started saying, "Go north. You just go north, and the compass points north." And
Yeah.
So
I'm not
Longitude
gonna
thanks,
say
north
Slick,
and
for your
south.
summary.
not where
That
longitude
we
lines
Not
everyone
just
heard
north.
it in the hangout. Everyone except you, obviously.
Well, listen, John, I'm just
So,
having a
man.
conversation. I'm not trying to, cause any problems. I'm just trying to have a casual, calm conversation without all the ridicule. That's all.
I wasn't ridiculing him initially. I asked him legitimate questions. The first question was about his moon reflection, right? That was a legitimate
Texture.
question, correct?
texture.
I'm
Yeah,
talking.
I know
So,
it.
so apparently
it
it
was
was
a
the
legitimate
Phoenicians who
question.
came up with it.
I told you 3 times what happened. He was making a point about north and
Yeah,
down, and the
you don't have to tell us what happened 3 times. Slick, we were here.
It doesn't seem like it, John. It doesn't seem like you're
Right.
understanding what happened.
No, it doesn't seem like it, John. Go ahead. I'll tell you what. You threw bozos. Go get in another hangout and you could discuss it.
Why
You,
don't you just
Kennedy, Anon, and Bozo Slick.
Yeah, let's talk about Jesus Quantum here.
Yeah, there
no
we
red
go
herrings
again.
needed.
Mr. Ink, Paper, and Glue Molecules, author technical instruction manuals and blueprints. And something from nothing.
What?
Right? You want to get on that?
Why are you always
let's
talking
get
in
back on
circles,
track.
John?
Look, sorry.
It's pointless. All your jibber jabber, it's all pointless.
Yeah, you
when
jibber
someone
jabber.
wants to talk about truth,
Sure,
you
thanks
want to
a lot.
talk about
Appreciate
something
that.
totally different.
Sorry,
No,
just
on a
your,
different note.
okay, no worries.
Honestly, bro,
we're getting,
all you've
we're
been
getting
really
back on
trying
track.
to
We're
establish
getting
is
back on
how
track.
to tell time from the moon.
Right, so we're using the latitude lines to tell the time using the moon, correct?
Right.
So they're integral
Can
part.
you tell time by the moon?
Guys. So it is an integral part to your example then.
Well, it's actually about knowing what time is. He asked about what time is. So how to tell time by the moon is locating the sun by the use of the moon. But John asked about what time was because he needed to go back to the beginning.
I did, but my first point was about the uniform reflection. Right?
Yeah, texture.
No, I didn't get the texture. That even train wrecks your point even further.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
'cause
talking
I'm the one
about
with the answer.
Just
I
rumpus me
gave
then.
texture.
Just rumpus me then.
Sorry, go ahead.
Now I'm not going ahead. Somebody else take this nut.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So the latitude lines the latitude lines are an integral part to your example?
Well, no, it's the longitude lines are essential to knowing what time is, which was what John's question was.
Okay, and your example is about telling time?
Yes.
So the latitude lines are integral to your example of telling time. Correct?
Right,
yes, thank you, God.
Well,
So before you rumpus the
time
shit
itself,
out of me, having got a very quick concession, having denied it twice previously, yes, they are absolutely integral to your bloody example. Now, can you tell me where they came from, please? Those things, those concepts, those things that are integral to your example, please.
It's the location of the sun when it's on your north and south. That's longitude.
Oh, so we're going to look at the sun to give us a time, and we're going to use a concept that's derived from the path of the sun in the first instance? Really?
Path of the sun.
If you thought this through.
Sorry, you seem to be muttering. Excuse me. Speak clearly now we've finally had the penny drop.
I'm not understanding you. Could you put that
maybe
a
you
different
could
way
tell
or
us
something?
again without muttering where the latitude concept came from, please?
Okay, we're actually talking about longitude. So I think if you're not going to understand that, you're not really going to get
longitude then.
My bad. Longitude. Okay. Where was it derived from? You've said it once already. Muttering.
Oh, the longitude is your north and south. Where it's the crosshairs of your location.
Based on what? What was it derived
Oriented
from? You've
north
said
and
it
south.
once already. Why are you now dancing around it having already said it?
The location of the sun. Just say it.
Well, that's what noon is when it's on your longitude.
So
is that your question?
No.
Unbelievable.
That's
Oh
about
my God.
noon specific.
Shut up. Listen to the question again and then try to answer it. Where were latitude lines derived from?
It's
longitude. Go with longitude.
That we're
Go with
talking
longitude.
about.
Sorry,
Does that make
my bad.
sense to you?
Longitude.
Yeah, that's fine.
My bad.
That's what we're talking about. Longitude.
That completely ruined my veracity.
Time has been changed numerous times.
Anyway, where did the longitude line come from
It's The Phoenicians came up with it apparently, and it's location of the sun. We've been
Check
through
it
this.
out. Anon's found the Google.
Yeah, I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to do it on my phone and open up another tab.
Thanks, Anon.
Yes, you're most welcome.
So, can anybody
Speaking
see a
of
problem?
Phoenicians,
That's
what's
really
up with
not
those
even a good
Tartarians?
answer,
Oh,
though.
the conclusion's
It's
just going to
north
get
and
rid.
south
I
of
give
you.
up. Someone
That's
else
a
made the
much better
conclusion.
answer.
I just give up. Oh, I get where you come from,
as soon as
John.
I
I
came
tried to. Now I'm giving up too. I'll forget it. The conclusion's out there somewhere.
Yeah. It's
I went and
still
ate
not
breakfast.
latitude there, bud. So I don't think you understand how dumb you look right now. I'm not sure what you're getting at.
Oh dear.
Where do these people come from?
I don't know, but
So is this your refutation?
do you not
brother.
seriously? Do you not
What is
understand how this is?
latitude?
Do you not
Is
understand
that
how
what
this?
it is?
Do you not understand how this is a train wreck?
I do. You keep talking about latitude when we're the subject longitude.
Oh,
I
just appeal
totally
to that.
get it. Yeah.
He meant longitude. Same thing.
It's just my bad. It doesn't change the point.
The point.
Whether he's talking
the
about
point is
latitude
that
or
you don't really
longitude, we've
understand what
been
you're
asking you
talking
this
about.
question. We've been asking you this question for a half hour now, and you still haven't responded to it. And then somebody gives an answer, and you say that's not even a very good answer.
Oh, about what makes longitude? Yeah, north and south actually makes. That's a longitudinal line. So wherever you are, the north and south of you, that's your longitude.
Bro, why don't you just
Can I
Google
say
it
something?
It's not where
Can I
longitude
say
is.
something?
Yeah, that's exactly what
Hey,
it is.
Kennedy.
It's not.
Kennedy,
Yeah.
you're mixing it up. You're saying what it is. We're asking where did it come from? That's two different questions.
It comes from a compass. It
So
comes
he's
from the
doubling down on
magnetic
his original
effect of the
assertion that's
compass.
wrong.
It comes from a
But
Unbelievable.
still doesn't answer it. Still doesn't answer it. It doesn't come from a compass. What's the origin? How do they determine the longitudinal line? That's what the question is.
It shoots out the
doesn't answer
side
it.
of the compass.
North and
The
south.
lines shoot out the side. It's like laser light when you open up the compass. When the bezel ring spins, right? It's like a vortex of lines that shoot out, and you got to settle it down, and then the lines, longitude and latitude lines, just shoot
what
out.
What he's saying is when you hold up a compass and you look north, you can draw an imaginary line from where you are, where it's pointing north, and then to its opposite antipode direction, south, and you can create a fictional. It's not a real line. It's an idea, but it's a line that goes from your north directly behind you to your south. That's the
So what you're
longitude line.
saying is the longitude lines come from magnetic north.
It doesn't come from it. Magnetic north is used to determine where.
That's where it comes from means. But you've already given the other answer. Why are you now?
Use it.
You're now doing what the other guest is doing, and on why are you now contradicting yourself, having gone and Googled it and given the right answer? I don't understand.
No, what
like
you
I
just
said-
said there was 100% accurate.
No,
Correct.
your guys they're both. It's not a north and south measurement. Like, it's an east
No,
west.
wait, that's another subject.
It is an
No,
east
we're
to
talking
west
longitude.
measurement, correct?
We're talking
but
longitude.
The longitude.
No, he's saying that
every
the
single
longitude lines come from magnetic north, people. Does anyone have a problem with that? Even in the heliocentric Baltard
I
model.
don't think you get it.
It's not even an item, so how can it come from the
It's
north?
a conjured up
description.
idea.
I
Yeah,
know,
it's
but
an
he's
idea.
saying that the longitude lines come from magnetic north. They all intersect at magnetic north. Does anyone have a problem with
which is
that
what
on
I've
this
been
panel?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
what
what
you
I've been saying.
want to say is because the magnetic north moves. That way it would make
But
longitude
that's not what
lines
I'm
move.
saying. I can't believe this. This is the level that we're at, even with flat earthers.
Yeah,
Go
flat
ahead and
earthers are
pull up
currently
Google
believing in
and
a
look up
magic
latitude and
moon
longitude
theory.
lines. Pull it up, right? And tell me where the longitude lines originate in their model. Please, somebody.
It comes from a compass in either model.
Oh my God. All right.
It comes from the prime meridian, east and west of that. That's the standard they use is the prime meridian line, and then going east and west from there are your longitude lines. So it's an east-west measurement from the prime meridian line. So this where it comes from would be the prime meridian line. Now, how do they determine the prime meridian line?
Yeah.
London, because they're cool.
How did they determine where's the origin? How did they derive it? That's the question
Royal
on the table. It's
Astronomical
been on the
Society,
table
that's where...
for about an hour. It's been answered.
So what's the point of any of this? None of this refutes any.
It's deconstructing your nonsense. We already did that with the moon reflection. You're just this is just barely palpable background noise.
Look, the 3D modeling software proved you wrong immediately.
The 3D software modeling is not reality; it's a reification fallacy.
Yeah, well, everyone in the audience got to see it anyway.
Everyone in the audience definitely got to hear you train wreck yourself. They sure did.
They definitely did.
You can make mass orbit mass in a simulation. That doesn't mean it can happen in reality. I've seen Avatar, which is basically a simulation of reality, and the craziest things can happen. You can make anything happen in a simulation. That doesn't translate it to being real life when you make a simulation that...
Yeah, that's right. The modeling is not even necessary. Fallacy. It's only necessary for me to communicate it to you. You can use the Earth itself.
You can't make a rock float in a vacuum in order for it to reflect light. So you're just ignoring the foundation.
Magnetite is a rock, and it can float all it wants.
Okay, so you're going to tell me that...
Wait. Can I ask Kennedy a question?
No. Hold on. There was a claim thrown out there. Sorry, Chocolate. Sorry, do you want to just repeat that claim?
Are you talking to me?
Somebody, I don't know if it was you, said something about magnetite and the moon being it.
Magnetite can float all it wants.
Sorry.
How does that relate to the light in the sky?
Magnetite's a rock, so it's a floating rock.
What do you mean? Where does it float?
Wherever you want to set it up.
Wait. So Kennedy, I'm trying to get this straight. So you believe the moon is a rock?
Yeah.
Physical rock.
Well, I mean, I haven't ever done any lab samples on it, but it certainly looks like rock to me. It's definitely physical. Otherwise, light would penetrate.
How do we know that?
How do we know which?
That it's physical.
That's definitely physical, like you just said.
Because light is impeded by physical objects, and since craters cast shadows that you can continue to track, you can track from 0 all the way up to the fullest length that they'll get before they disappear. Then we're able to know that light is being impeded by something, and that's an object.
No, you're seeing something. Okay, you don't. You're
is darkness an object?
Hold on. Does no one think that's a reasonable? Hold on. Nobody's addressing that. No one think that's a reasonable enough summation.
I just want to know how he thinks it's a physical rock up there. That's all I want to know.
Nobody's addressing what he said. So he's saying you can track the shadows, you can watch them moving, and if it wasn't physical, you wouldn't have that effect happening. I'll paraphrase, but that's pretty much what he's saying. Does anybody have an issue with that?
I do. Yes.
Well, the only issue I would have.
Go.
I haven't said much. Yeah, let me say much. I mean, he hasn't really truly proved that it's the sun causing any of that. He's just assuming it.
Well, what the software shows is it's 100% consistent, and what you can actually do is call somebody wherever you are. You could call somebody on the other side of the earth when you've clocked the sun over the top of them by use of the moon. You can call them and ask them if it's noon.
Okay, would you say that's a prediction? You're predicting where the moon's going to be?
What you're doing is you're reading where the sun is by the use of the moon. It's all predictable.
Okay, so it's your predictions, right? You're making predictions based on patterns that you have noticed of lights in the sky.
Yeah, it's all predictable.
Okay. So here, just go with us. Let me just make this point. So we're looking at a traffic light, right? It's got a lot of lights. It said it's going green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red, green, yellow. Can you guess what color comes next?
Red.
Can you tell me from that what is causing the lights to illuminate?
Unicorn farts.
There you go. But that's what you're doing. You're saying, I see these lights do something. I know what they're going to do based on timed observation. And from that, I'm going to formulate a story and then make it work.
And then you're also attributing physical properties to something that we can't tell is physical or not. Whether it looks like it or not, we can't tell that definitively.
He didn't. This conversation should have ended when he didn't know that there were different types of north, right?
John,
the conversation
you still haven't
should have stopped.
established that there's any other north than magnetic north.
Right.
You've just
this
made
conversation
a claim,
should
and
have
then you
ended.
backed
It
up
should
with
have been.
Google. That's
We
it.
should have had mercy, right? So we're going to give you mercy. We're just entertaining clowns. That's all we're doing here, just wasting time.
Well,
There's another issue, yeah, that I
what
don't
I'm
think
trying
you
to
recognize
teach you-
either.
What I'm trying to teach you is A, how to tell time by the moon, which you cannot do. You're going to point that out. That means
Yeah, we don't want to hear it over
authority.
again. We're not listening to crayon munchers do this to us. I'm sorry.
You don't like to learn?
So change the subject. Yeah.
Kennedy,
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
He's a Jesus freak. Don't worry about him.
Kennedy, I'm
change it up
listening
real
to
quick?
you. I've been
I
trying to
got a
listen to
question
Kennedy
for
for
the
the whole time.
Go on, Slick.
Oh, you can go ahead. Summarize for us, Slick.
I'm not trying to summarize. What I'm saying is the guy brought up a very interesting concept. It was new information and something that can be listened to and talked about. I was very interested in it personally.
Everything.
Well,
that
go
I'm saying,
ahead. Like I
it
told
doesn't
you,
require
go
any-
ahead and grab your butt boy Anon. Go find
It
IQ
doesn't-
Flattener and get Kennedy, and then gather yourselves all together and go talk about it. Okay? We'll sit back here and laugh.
Okay. I'm just trying to educate you, John.
You guys
since
talk about
can't even
Jesus.
tell time by the moon.
You couldn't
You
educate me.
understand that?
It's like Elmer
Do you
Fudd
understand
Can I say
educating
You
something?
don't
Tiger
have an
Woods on
understanding
golf.
of the sky,
You're a
and I
clown,
do.
sir.
And I'm trying to
You
share
didn't
that
even
with you.
know. This is borderline.
you'd
It's
just
like
rather
Bizarro world today.
What's time?
Even
He's a fundamental.
What is time? What is time?
Can you guys hear me?
What's time?
Nathan, can you hear me?
I already asked him that. He didn't answer it.
What is time? Yeah, we can hear you, whoever is asking.
Can you guys hear
Time
me?
is the location
Yes,
of the
James,
sun.
we can
Yeah,
hear you.
James, I hear you, James. I hear
No,
you.
we can't hear you.
I got a question.
Go on, James. Go
So
ahead.
time can be kept in infinite ways,
No.
but I wanted to change it up. Sure, it could.
Well, what I'm
But I
saying is
wanted to
that
change it up
time-
just for this. I got a question for the Globers.
I don't think there
If
is
you
any.
was to build a house
Overs there.
I don't
and
think there is
to
any.
level that foundation for the house, make sure it's level, are you going to look to
Hey,
the stars?
before you move on, I'm just gonna consider my points all established because there really
Okay.
hasn't been any type of
Okay,
rebuttal.
thanks. Yeah,
and-
they're established. Okay. See you later.
okay.
Can
All
you
right, have a
establish
good
how
day,
you
John.
believe the moon is physical? Can you
Sorry,
establish
what?
that before you
Oh,
go?
Yeah,
don't let him.
photons are
Don't drag
impeded.
this out any
The
further.
light,
I'm losing the will to live.
John, would you stop? Seriously. I mean, come on. You can't even tell time by the moon. Can't you tell that you're talking to someone that knows more about astronomy than you?
What's time?
Like, isn't that blatant? Time
is it?
the
What is
Astronomy,
time?
pseudoscience.
What's time? What is
So
it?
Time is the
congratulations.
location of the sun.
You said you can tell time. What is time? Tell me what
The
time
location
is.
of the sun.
So time is the
I can,
location of the
I can tell you what time is. Time is used to understand when to plant and when to harvest.
Not when it's used. What is
Time.
it?
Yeah, it's the location of the sun.
No, time is a man-made concept. That noon is the idea of synchronizing the sun over our head. Time
Bingo.
is not an actual
Man-made
thing.
concept. Man-made
It's
concept.
not influence. It's second. How long is a second? Tell me that. How long is a second? Where do you get? Where's the origin of time standard? It was made up by men. We went from now until now. That's a second. That's the standard. It was created like that. and it was based on the movement of the sun. But the sun's movement does not affect time. If the sun stopped moving for something, time wouldn't stop if the sun stopped moving. Time would go on.
The concept.
You're not understanding.
The
sun's location is the time. So if the sun stops, then the time stops.
The one has been derived from the sun in the first instance. He's just explained it to you. This is in essence the conclusion of the train wreck. But again, it's not going in.
No, 90% of what he said was 100% accurate. That other 10% though matters.
What 10% did I mess up on?
Well, the location of the sun is what determines the time. It's not some arbitrary thing.
Kennedy.
We use time as a measurement. That is all it is. All we do is measure waiting. Okay, it's the same as like speed. 50 miles per hour is not a tangible thing. It's just a measurement of an object moving. So time is just waiting. You're not moving through time. Okay, time doesn't move. It's just it.
Well, what it is the location of the sun. And
it's not
the sun moves, that changes what time it is.
No, it doesn't.
The Earth is a 24-hour
reasoning.
Just not listening.
Stop for a minute.
Maybe if you want to say
you
it's
realize that
location
time
of
has
the
been
sun.
changed multiple times, right?
Oh, here we go with another one.
No. They've changed your
Time
clock.
has literally been
Time
changed.
didn't change. They changed your clock.
Yes.
Yeah,
Kennedy,
sorry,
you're making
repeat that. They changed the what? Hold on. They changed
that statement.
Hold on.
I love that statement.
Oh God. They changed what now? What was it that actually changed?
Your clocks.
The clocks.
They changed.
Look
your
at
clock.
the international dateline.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
clock-
Hold on. There's another one.
Dateline.
Hold on. There's another one. International
There was 2
dateline.
Fridays in a row.
There's another one. So international dateline. Is that something we can go and have a little look at? Or is it another concept?
That's just a revolution of the sun over the 24-hour face that is the Earth.
Kennedy, I understand what you're saying perfectly. You are right on point.
I understand. I've released this a year ago, and there are no refutations.
Okay, hold on, Kennedy. Do you realize that the entire stars, they all move in unison, basically? Okay, it's a timed pattern, right? Do you know, like every year, like it's so all you're doing is saying, "Oh, I'm timing one aspect of the sky," and since it's always in the same place throughout the same pattern, you can determine where the other things are. Yes, that's all.
Let me explain. How to tell time by the moon is locating the sun. That's all it is. It's locating the sun.
But that's where the
does
time
time have to do
concept.
with the shape of
Sorry,
the
I've
Earth?
just got to say it out loud. That's where the time concept was derived from in the first instance, though, wasn't it?
Sorry, say that.
That's where the time concept has been derived from in the first instance. And as it's been pointed out to you on multiple occasions, that is not time. That's a concept.
I still didn't catch the first protocol.
You're just in a man-made convention and trying to fight your way out to objective reality.
Right.
It is a circus. And you're the clown show, along with the other two guys. Why don't you go into another hangout?
Because whenever the sun is on your longitude,
whatever.
Oh, where did the longitude lines come from? You still haven't got to this bit yet. Where did those longitude lines? They're from the same concept, aren't they? They've been derived from the path of the sun. So we've got the same concept.
I think the better thing is to say is noon is your zenith. It has nothing to do with the longitude line. It's when it comes into your visual field, when you can actually see and reach, the rays reach you, or whatever you want.
Yeah, that's great. That is a good way to say it too.
Your time.
No.
So when it's at your...
No.
So when he's saying that they changed your clock, but they didn't change your time,
I won't shut
he
up
means
now.
that the
You'll just
time...
keep fucking saying it 5 more fucking times, won't he? No, that is not time. That's solar noon.
Right. Yeah.
That's a concept they're missing. I think
Solar noon. So you're deriving a concept derived from the sun from a concept that's come from the sun called solar noon.
Yeah, they're inside a convention, a circus tent convention, trying to fight their way out. This is a circus, man.
You want to call Earth?
What
It takes
shrooms are
X
you
amount
guys
of time,
snorting?
and you want to call it hours, fine. You want to call it seconds, fine. You want to make up your own time, fine. But time
Well,
is
what it is
your new
technically is
starts
15
when the
degrees.
sun is about to head the realm of Venus.
Let's call it Ducal Slopergertz.
It's still just a concept. There's infinite ways you can keep track of time.
Right.
Right,
That's
but
why
there's
he
only
meant
one
that they
time.
changed the
Can I
clock,
say
because the
something,
clock
please?
is tracks the
Paul,
time.
please
Clock.
say something.
The time itself is time.
Paul,
It's
go
just
ahead
when
and say something,
they
please.
use
But you
5.
can make the clock say 30 seconds is a minute, and mathematically you can figure a day out of it.
Yeah, we can have 12
Yeah, then I
hours.
can
we can have
redefine
24
the day
hours.
Can I
within a
say something,
convention.
please? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
Hello?
Hello.
Go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
Okay. I think we're muddying the waters, obviously, very badly. I think we're conflating the measurement of time to the definition of what is time. We're conflating the two issues. My definition of time is the causal chain or things passing in existence and out of existence. How you measure that is you can measure that through a clock, you can measure that through the sun, you can measure that through many means, but there's a definition. I think we're conflating the two, and we're not talking about those two things. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
You're not wrong. But you're inside it. Everyone's arguing inside this convention. Does everyone see that? Can I get an amen?
To be honest,
Yeah,
John,
we tried to take it up there, John. But
well, the word convention is a word I was struggling to remember for ages for this particular concept. Yeah, and no, there may be people watching that don't understand what that means. So maybe if we can remove it once from time, pick a different concept and say, right, this convention has been contrived, and then people try to extract from that convention and put that extraction into reality or reify that convention. But you can only work within the confines of any given convention itself. To extract it out and then say that that's your reality, that would be a reification fallacy. Am I wrong in that, John?
No, you're not. In fact, it's delusional if you do that. And we have many people doing it. They do it with the taxonomic classification system, right? You know, where, you know, species, genus, all the up through family, all that's inside a convention. You can do a lot of things within the convention. There's nothing wrong with that. But as soon as you go to abstract that into objective reality and make a claim about objective reality based on the convention,
Pound
then
says
you're
that's a
off the
non-talking.
reservation.
Who's talking? Who's talking?
Oh.
Who was
Are there
sorry? No.
reputations
Who was
for how
just
to tell
talking?
time by the moon?
Who was just talking just a moment
Yeah.
ago while John was mid-sentence?
Yeah, they were rumpusing me again.
Who was talking?
While John was speaking, I interrupted
Why?
because he's just talking nonsense, pointless.
Sorry, excuse me. You think there's one north? You are fundamentally fucking retarded. You
No,
don't have
I'm
anything
not.
to add to this fucking conversation, so shut your fucking mouth or I'll kick you out, you stupid dick.
Listen, I just want to know.
Did you
if
not
there's any
fucking understand
reputations.
English?
And so far there
Shut
have not
your
been.
stupid mouth or I will kick you out,
Well,
you
listen,
dumb
this
fuck.
Is peer review, and I have
Bye
got
bye,
it reviewed,
dumb
and
fuck.
there are no
Kennedy, the
reputations.
dumb fuck who
That's
can't
all
shut
I care
up.
about.
Goodbye, you stupid fucking retard.
Why don't you go chase them down, Slick and Anon? Go chase Kennedy down. Why don't you go into your own hangout and you could discuss this?
Yeah.
Maybe you could summarize it for us first.
I don't need to talk to Kennedy. I kind of get what he's saying, but I disagree with
Why
him
don't
on
you
a bunch of
figure
shit.
out, and then while you're in there,
If
figure
you don't
out
mind,
what paper
Anon,
and
I
glue
would
molecules and
love if
technical
we could get
instruction
this
manuals and blueprints.
idea that is definitely not understood by many members on the panel about working inside and outside of conventions. Because it's not understood, and John's trying to explain it.
Can I give it a whirl?
You want me
here?
to try this again?
I don't believe it. Somebody on the panel side talking.
Yeah, I'm not going to explain it
No,
again.
come on, please, please. I beg of you, then I can round the show out. Because otherwise this is left without a point, because it seems like we've held whatever his name was, toes to the fire about, I forget bloody which one, latitude or longitude now.
It was longitude. Though.
Longitude lines. And without people understanding why we've done that at the end of the show, it's left unexplained.
Right.
Please.
I think everyone's been bowled over by this. I don't think they don't look at it clearly. And probably the best example of man-made contrived conventions is the taxonomic classification system. Everything from species, genus, family, everyone knows what I'm talking about. See, what conventions are made for is for communication and classification. So everyone can communicate together, that they're on the same sheet of music. Now, there's nothing wrong with classifying or categorizing things in a human contrived convention within that framework. The problem arises when you make claims that are based on what you contrived from the convention, take them out of the convention, and place them in objective reality. That's where the problems come in, because that's a begging the question fallacy from the Black Lagoon. Because your initial point, or the initial starting point from where you came from, was a human contrived convention. Does everyone understand that? So it's begging the question fallacy if you come outside the convention and make claims upon reality. I did this in the quantum mechanics presentation with diffraction grating, how they conjured the wavelength and the frequency from that convention. Now, there's nothing wrong with that convention if you stay inside the boundaries of that. There's nothing wrong with it. But the problem arises when you come outside the convention and make claims based on the convention into reality. Then it's like a circus tent show. It's a room filled with mirrors, and then you throw some smoke in there.
Okay.
Everyone gets confused.
So is everyone on the same page? The example being given is where you take the quanta hitting the photographic plate, it presents itself as a probability distribution, and then you can quantify that inside a convention as a wave, even though it's a mathematical description of what you have seen appearing on a photographic plate. Then if you reify that convention out of the mathematics and say light is a wave, it becomes a begging the question fallacy, as opposed to a useful way of describing something, like the passage of the sun, for example.
Okay,
I still haven't seen a single photon.
I have a question too whenever you get a chance.
But does everybody understand where the issue comes when you work outside of a convention? If you don't,
that's what my question is about.
Go ahead, Slick.
Like
Go ahead.
Like a
Go
metric.
Hold on, John.
I'm sorry, like the metric system. That's a good convention, right?
If
you come outside of that and bring in inches, another convention, then you have a lot of friction, right? They don't make any sense. That's the. I should have used that example. That's a great example. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hold on.
So
go ahead, Slick.
Can I ask the question
please.
or no?
Yes, go ahead,
Thank
Slick.
you. Okay, here's my question, because I'm listening to this thing about time and I just want to get clarity. What do people use to plant and harvest?
The sun.
The sun and the moon.
Okay, so that's all I wanted to get clarity on that.
Wow, that's profound. Thanks for that. That solved the discussion. Appreciate it.
Well, I was asking a question. I was getting clarity. I wasn't trying to make any points. I was just trying to get clarity.
Okay. Now, does everyone understand that convention? That's probably a little bit easier one, right, Nathan?
Yeah,
inches and
convention is like a
centimeters,
protocol. It's like
I can't hear you.
TCP/IP. It's like HTTP.
I knew it would be a non. The most ignorant person on the panel tends to make the most noise.
I've been on mute for a long time.
Yeah, so that's probably the best convention. You know, the metric system. Nothing wrong with the metric system, right? It's great for measurements. I love it. But when you bring it outside and make claims upon reality, guess you're going to run into other conventions, other measuring conventions outside that convention, right? What happens when you do that?
You get things like that convention of feet and inches or centimeters being used, where a different convention like angular size is more appropriate.
Right. I should have used that example. That's a little bit easier for people to understand. Does everyone get that?
The convention works within the limits of the convention. Feet and inches work nicely for measuring buildings with a tape measure. If you work outside of that convention and its limitations, you end up with a bastardization of reality. Feet and inches doesn't make sense when you look at things in the distance. You've come outside of the convention, reified it into existence, and then suddenly there's a problem. There's a break, a disconnect. Angular size is the more applicable convention to apply to the photographs. They apply a different convention that they reify into existence. Feet and inches doesn't change with distance, subsequently removing perspective. But it's just a convention. There's nothing wrong with the feet and inches convention, but it just doesn't work when you extract it into reality.
Can you imagine you had a construction crew, half was using the metric system, the other half was using inches and feet, the English system? Can you imagine what would happen? I'd like to see that. It's probably it's a good analogy of the earlier show.
I've got one more question for clarity, if I could just squeeze it in.
Go ahead, Slick.
Okay, back on the thing about the plant and harvesting, and I heard the answer was sun and moon. Now, what I'm asking is this sun and moon that's used to for planting and harvesting, is that considered time or no?
You can make a convention based on it, and they have, and you can call it time in the same way as you can call it Dougal Slurpelgurks, as John used earlier. Call it whatever the bloody hell you like, but you're just using a concept based on what the sun does and giving it a name. It's a convention you have derived from the sun's path. In that instance, you can call it whatever you want. But when you then back engineer from that concept that you've derived, then you're going to have a problem. That's when the problems start.
I understand.
Everybody else, because if there's others on the panel that don't get it, I'd rather you said no, because it means there's people watching.
So I get the convention part, Nathan. I get that, you know, you have different, it's basically like protocol. If you try to go on a web browser using TCP/IP or using TCP, it's not going to work. You got to use HTTP. I get that. Sure. What I'm saying with time is we have a cycle, a loop. And what is that loop? Every morning, this big ball of sun comes up, and then at night it goes away. And the same thing happens the next day. So we have a cycle, and we have to divide that cycle somehow to keep track of it, so we can say, hey, meet me there at this time. That's it. That's what time is. So you can use whatever you want. You can use a clock with 24 hours. You're going to use a clock with 12 hours, and then AM, PM, or you can use the sun and the moon. So time, he was just trying to explain to you that you can tell what time it is by like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So using the sun and moon convention, you convert it into some sort of a numerical number. That's what he was trying to explain at, and he got derailed into the land of longitude.
Yeah,
so
because
I get that.
And where did the longitudes come from? You've looked this up now. This is the conclusion, Anon.
I get that. That's the red herring.
So
that's
don't just say I get it. Just say it.
It's about
What's your problem? Is it because you don't quite get it and don't want to seem stupid?
No.
He called it a red
So
herring.
just say it then. Don't say I get it. Just answer the question where the other dipshit couldn't do it. Where did the latitude... It's longitude, isn't it? Where did it come from?
Came from the Phoenicians, and it came from where they were trying to measure the globe, or whatever you want to call it.
And what did they look at? Where did they get it from? The
They
latitude
look at the
and
sky.
So I'll lead you, and you actually give the answer while I'm talking. What an asshole.
What do you mean? I'm just trying to help you out. The sky. I've already said it. All I was saying is the guy was trying to say he has a conversion method of using the moon to figuring out what numerical time it is that we all use. That's it.
So you've basically taken his place then. Repeating the same thing.
We already know what he was doing.
We know.
We were here.
Yeah. So the question that you said, oh, you took him on this merry journey of asking him which fucking one was it, longitude lines come from?
But you got it.
And
Roll with
the answer is, Anon?
They looked in the sky.
At what?
At the sun and the stars. I don't fucking know. That's not the point.
So literally you do,
You
so
were
you
trying to
say
talk about
so you
the
give so
sun
now you're going to keep
movement.
talking. Now you're going to keep talking. After declaring your ignorance, you're going to be the one that carries on talking. I don't know, but I'm going to definitely keep this mic open and talk indefinitely. Yeah, you do know. You just answered. So it came from the path of the sun in the first instance, Anon.
Okay. All right.
That's okay, is it? That's
What's
all good.
That is not the point. The point is using the moon.
I'm going to shut him up and say that this guy is fucking dumb. Unbelievable. Listen
That's
back
conservative.
and realise your own stupidity, Anon, just like the other guy, and you've basically taken his place and done the same damn thing.
You're lowballing with that dumb comment.
All right, cool.
Maybe can I make a comment to maybe bring it back on track? Maybe if you use my definition of time, I said definition of time is the causal change of things passing in and out of existence, and the measurement of time is a convention. Would that kind of how you would equate it, or did I miss that? To help bring that back, to kind of tie that into what
time would be the conceptual medium in which all things take place. A concept you can derive to track is the sun's path. But then when you derive a convention from that, the longitude lines, and then back engineer out how to tell time, you're working with the original thing you derived the concept from in the first instance.
But
That's right.
Paul just said something about passing in and out of existence. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, he was a
I
little
was
bit off with
born.
that slick.
One day I'll die.
He was a little bit off with that slick. Roll with what Nathan just said. It's the conceptual medium in which all events in this, what we call the universe, take place. How about that? Is that a good one?
I did say causal chain.
You were close enough, Paul. To be honest.
Yeah, you're close enough. Right.
The
How about
point is
that,
that-
Slick? Is that a better definition?
The convention that can be derived to track where and what is happening, one of those things could be the sun.
No, I'm clear. When he said in and out of existence, that just didn't sound right. So I just wanted to get clarity.
Yeah, that was a little bit. Yeah, conceptually had it right. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, but it's the conceptual medium in which all events in this universe and what we call this universe take place. That's probably a better definition. I made it, so it's better.
Ha ha ha.
Okay, what's the speed of dark?
I think we've got enough to round it out with an actual conclusion there. Is anyone on the panel got anything to add to that? Feel free. You're all on mute.
I get yelled at.
I'd like him to come back and again explain to us how he believes the moon is definitely a physical rock up there.
Are you a masochist?
I apologise to you, Anon, because you're useful, as was the other guy, to progress the conversation. The problem is that, ultimately speaking, there's got to be somebody who doesn't know for you to have that conversation and progress it to the point where an audience will understand the point at the end. The main trouble is that most people take it so bloody personally and then rumpus the shit out of you when suddenly something starts to not process correctly. And rather than going, that doesn't process properly, what's going wrong, or asking a relevant or pertinent question, you just rumpus or say it's not the point. It's not the point. It's like, no, you haven't understood the point yet. But just have some humility. And I thank you, Anon, for being that person. But, just try and get a grip when you're not quite tracking along with what's happening or what's being explained.
And stop getting triggered by Jesus.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I like you talk about rumpusing, but the most rumpusful person in this panel is your butt buddy, John. That guy is the most rumpusful anybody that there is. I think you should be just called John instead of Rumpus.
What?
But
Can you stay
never
on
call
topic?
him out, ever. You never
Can you
call him
stay
out.
on topic? Not ad homs. I mean, he just gave you his explanation. He said he was sorry, right? He said that you were a useful idiot into proving a point.
I deliberately didn't phrase it like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I heard come
I
through
don't
my
want
head.
to cause offence. That's what I mean. But it's not. It's going to be taken personally. It was yesterday by Ebon, to the point where he stole the whole show and published it before me, bastard. Anyway, the point is, the conversation needs to take place. It's just the rumpusing that ensues, and normally the person who's having it explained to them talks and then claims rumpusing.
Yeah.
Non-rumpus ever.
Right. I think one of the problems.
Do they think that John rumpuses, please. Yes,
Yes,
or no?
I listen.
to
I
John
do. I
again.
think John's constant giggling is very annoying.
I do it too. I can't help it. That's absolutely right, Anon. I've never agreed with you more. I think that's so pertinent, Anon. Very well said.
It's the most coherent thing I think I've heard him say.
Clear.
That's exactly
And
right.
if people don't get that, they don't get it. Obviously,
You're right.
it's clear.
People just don't get that. I'm a total bastard. You're entitled to hate me, Anon. And John. He's a bastard too. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering audience for tuning in, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all of that good stuff. If you need to keep yourself occupied after this premiering stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!